So you've been listening to me ramble on for quite some time about this, that, and the other. So allow me to ramble on briefly about how I operate this podcast. There's lots of options for how you want to post and host your podcast and put it out into the world. I did a lot of research on mine, and for me, I decided to go with Anchor.fm. If you haven't heard of Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's free. That was a big selling point to me. Free is good. I like free. There's also tools for creation to help you record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer or your tablet or whatever you're using. I find that to be effective. So we got free, we got recording and editing, both big deals because they are. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you. So it can be heard on Spotify, it could be heard on Apple Podcasts, it could be heard on Google Podcasts, and many, many more. That is a huge time saver because I don't have to go to each of those things to upload. So I like that distribution right then and there. And again, it's free. You can make money from your podcast if you're into that kind of thing with no minimum listenership. That could be cool. I think you should try it. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So if you've been on the fence about making a podcast and the only thing holding you back is how you want to host it or create it or whatever, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's worth it. Greetings upon well wishes, my friends. Welcome back to the Death Metal Disco Podcast. You're tuning in to the Death Metal Disco Podcast? Whatever. This is going to be a super quick episode because I truly had nothing really, well, the one thing I did have to talk about was I was going to interview my mom, Ginger Quinlan. You can feel free to Google her, Quinlan. She's on the Google. She exists. She's a human being, pretty sure. Sometimes I wonder, but mostly pretty sure. She is a psychic medium by profession for like 30-something years. And I had asked her if she'd be interested in being a guest via a Zoom interview. And I had mentioned before that I was going to try and make that happen, and I finally remembered to ask her if she was down, and she was, but she got sick. She is under the weather. We were supposed to do it yesterday, and then she messaged me saying she was sick, and then I checked again with her today to see if she was feeling any better, and she wasn't, so we're putting it off until next week. Hopefully she is able to drink her lemon water or whatever she's drinking and get some rest, some much-needed rest, and recover. So that way she can talk, because it wasn't going to be a very long interview anyway, like half hour probably. And, not hard-hitting questions, because I don't ask those kind of hard-hitting, I don't do that. Like, I don't even know what kind of questions I could ask my mom that would be hard-hitting questions, per se. But I think I got a lot of friends that know who my mom is and know about my mom and her profession, her line of work. And actually have had readings from her many, many years ago when she lived in Colorado. And I think a lot of people that listen to this might be interested in just hearing about it. And she's got her own podcast, and I was going to have her pimp that out a little bit. And so hopefully we can get that done next weekend. I really, really do. If not, it is what it is. I am still going forward with the July 10th. That's a Saturday, July 10th at noon, Mountain Daylight Time, Zoom call. It's an open Zoom call for anybody who wants to join. I'm going to start posting the links to it on the social media probably tomorrow morning. It'll be open, so as long as you got the link, you can join. You could bring up whatever. Hopefully people join. I really, really hope so. Otherwise, I'll just be chilling for a couple hours on a Zoom call, talking to myself, and I don't mind doing that, but it's dumb, so I don't mind doing it now, like just talking to myself. I'm not really talking to myself. I'm talking to you because I am telling myself that people will listen, because you guys do listen. I look at the numbers.
And I thank you. I thank you for listening to the Death Metal Disco Podcast, the greatest podcast in all of history. Like, since the 1600s, it's the best podcast. And that might not even be true, aside from the fact it isn't actually true. But that's the plan. So, July 10th, Saturday, July 10th, noon o'clock, Mountain Daylight Time, Zoom call. Find it on Facebook. That's where the invite with the link and everything exists. I'll be sharing the link on Twitter and putting it on my Instagram bio so it's accessible there. But really, if you want to see it, just go to Facebook. Damn near everybody has Facebook, or at least can access it because it's a public posting, and anybody with a link can join. And I hope you do. It'd be nice to talk to people and have people put their input on about whatever the fuck we're talking about. So that's what's going to happen. And hopefully next week I can make the interview with my mom work if she's feeling good. So if you're listening to this and you know my mom, or even if you don't know my mom, just send positive vibes to Ginger. Ginger could use some positive vibes, some healing energies, if you will. Whatever, if you pray. I guess it's all a form of prayer when you really think about it. If you want to go down that path. I don't feel like going down that path because this episode that I want to keep very short is that'll just snowball this if I even start to go down that path. So I'm not gonna. I don't want to do it. The band, Empyrean Eclipse. We had practice today, as we usually do on Sundays, and it went really well. We went for a little over, almost 3 hours, I think. That's longer than we usually go. We usually get about 2 hours. Maybe an hour and a half of actual practice, but 2 hours on the clock. We show up at noon, set everything up and get jamming right around 12:15, 12:30. We were running a little bit late today, but we got out of there after 3, so that was nice. Worked out some harder songs that we've been struggling with, and I kind of forced us to actually go in. I forgot to turn off my air conditioner. Sorry if you can hear it. I kind of worked out, or had us work through 2 of the songs that we're not really struggling with. One of them's a cover song, and we're trying to get that in shape because I for sure want to include that on the record that we're going to do. We're going to do an EP, and we got the dates held for that end of August. We're going in, put the deposit down to hold that just a couple days ago, so that'll be good. And then the other one is one of our songs, and it's relatively newer for us. And it's not really all that tricky, really. It's just new. So we probably ran through that one a couple times, 2 or 3 times, and then the cover song we ran through 4 times and listened to the original a couple times as well, just to refresh our brains as to how it's supposed to go. And obviously, we'll have our own sounds, and it should be interesting. I'm interested to hear the final product when we get to the recording, because, it's a badass song. A lot of the metalheads will know it. But with our sound, I'll say this. It's a HM2 sound, and if you're a metalhead, the old school Swedish death metal sound. We don't sound that way. And the original song is an HM2 song. And that's a pedal, for those of you who don't know, a guitar pedal. It's going to be, should be interesting. I'm really stoked to see or to hear how it all comes together. We just got to bust our asses and get it tight so that way we don't spend more time in the studio than we need to, because that just adds time and money. And I really don't want to add more time or money than we need to. But it'll be cool. I really do think it'll be cool. So we work those out. The fun thing about practicing, and this is what I will talk about in lieu of having my mom on the episode today, is our drummer, Greg, at his house. He has a TV in the basement, and we usually have Pluto TV. It's a free streaming service, and they have live TV, but you can also, they have like I guess it's video on demand, VOD. They have that, but we don't ever use it. We just do live TV. I guess you can call it that, kind of like cable. It's free. It's just a free app, and he's got it on his Roku, and I have it on my Xbox. I hardly ever use it at home because, I got all the other streaming services and whatever. But Pluto TV, this is not sponsored by them. Pretty fucking cool. They have 2 horror channels. One's Pluto TV Horror and one's Pluto TV Thriller. And we kind of bounce back and forth between those 2 at practice. Seen some classics on there, and we've seen some really shitty things on there. And the last 2 practices, we actually caught The Ring, the American version of The Ring, with Naomi Watts, who is smoking hot. Smoking hot. And I've been informed that she has very long nipples from the movie 21 Grams. And that's fine. Like, I approve. Like, I like nipples. Anyway, not going into that. The Ring. The Ring is awesome. I love The Ring. Ring You, the original Japanese movie, is also awesome. I think they did a really good job when they remade this, creating The Ring and giving it the American twist. Not twist, but the American spin on that. Kind of like when The Grudge came out. The Grudge, if you don't know, is a remake of a Japanese movie. And that one's Ju-on. I think the Japanese version is so much creepier than the American version of The Grudge, Ju-on. It's a little bit harder to follow just because it's in Japanese and they do some like timeline jumping that if you're not paying attention to, because unless you speak Japanese, if you don't pay attention to the captions, you might miss it. I know the first time I saw it, I missed it. And when I saw The Grudge, the American release, I was like, oh, I wonder if that happened in the original. And then I rewatched it, and I was like, oh, I'm just dumb because I didn't pay attention. So that's the one thing that if I spoke Japanese, maybe I wouldn't have had that issue, but I don't speak Japanese. I need to, because I do want to go to Japan. But we watched The Ring today, and we caught it last week too, and The Ring is awesome, and I like The Ring a lot. I think they did a really, really good job, and especially comparing it to the Japanese version. Both great movies, just really creepy. Japanese horror film kind of swept over America for a little while there, and that's why they remade them into the American versions. And they're trying to do the same thing with Train to Busan, which I don't know that I approve of, because Train to Busan is a zombie movie, but it's a cool zombie movie, Korean. And if you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Check it out. Train to Busan, fantastic. It's not a typical zombie movie. Definitely rides the drama line a lot more. And I need to rewatch it. I haven't seen it it's been a couple years, but great movie. Highly recommend. But what I actually wanted to talk about wasn't The Ring, wasn't Train to Busan, wasn't The Grudge, wasn't the Japanese or Korean originals that spawned those. It is 30 Days of Night. So if you knew me as a kid, or even as an adolescent, you knew that I was absolutely obsessed with vampires. Fucking obsessed. And I still kind of am. It's much more low-key because an adult that is obsessed with vampires, you kind of wonder about. I have too many other things in my life to be obsessed with, and vampires took a back seat. And some people are like, oh, vampires, those are stupid. Vampires are... Especially after Twilight, because, Twilight tried to ruin vampires. I don't think they tried intentionally. Twilight's focus was on the very creepy, almost 90-year-old guy falling for a high school student. And if you don't think about that aspect of it, whatever, the love story and blah, blah, blah. Although, in my opinion, when it comes to vampire love stories, nothing really beats Dracula. Dracula's got them all. It's Dracula's a classic. Dracula's the OG. But 30 Days of Night, vampire movies and 30 Days of Night. Vampire movies, like any other movie, zombie movies, werewolves, even though werewolves don't seem to get nearly as much attention as they should, as far as monster movie type flicks go. 30 Days of Night is fucking great. I have never been a big fan of the scary monster vampires, like where they're just 24/7, scary, crazy looking, just hideous creature type of things. Those vampires never really appealed to me. I always liked the vampires. You know, Bela Lugosi as the classic Count Dracula. Gary Oldman and Bram Stoker's Dracula. Fucking fantastic. And that movie was true to the book. That's why it's called Bram Stoker's Dracula, because it is, I mean, literally, it's the book in film form. And none of the other Draculas up to that point had done that. You know, they're taken from the story itself, but they weren't the story. But I like that where it's, you know, he's human monster, like he's a person with feelings and whatever. And I'm a hopeless romantic, so romanticizing anything really kind of appeals to me, even though I don't tell anybody. That's a secret between me and you guys. Don't even talk to each other about it. And don't talk to me about it. That's fucking awkward. I don't like to be reminded. So yeah, I'm just gonna whisper this out right now. Also, I love you. Thanks for listening. 30 Days of Night, the vampires. Definitely scary vampires, like all the time scary vampires. And if you haven't seen 30 Days of Night, it's I guess it's based on a graphic novel. I've never read the graphic novel. I'm not big on graphic novels. I heard it was really, really good, but that's just not what I'm into. The sequel, The 30 Days of Night, was fucking terrible. Don't bother with it. Just awful. It definitely falls into the sequels are never as good as the original. By a lot. It definitely came up extremely short in that one. Fucking terrible movie. And I only tried to watch it a couple years ago, and I made it about 15, 20 minutes in before I just couldn't do it and stopped, and then caught it by happenstance later, and regretted keeping it on the TV. So 30 Days of Night anyway. Josh Hartnett, Melissa George, Daniel Houston. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. You've seen the guy in a lot of shit. He was in Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie. Whatever that one was called. I think it was just called Wonder Woman. He was the bad guy. I can't remember his name in that, but he makes an excellent bad guy, and he was fucking great as just the leader of the vampire clan in 30 Days of Night. Just fucking evil. It is a very, very violent, bloody vampire movie. Nothing romantic even remotely about it. It's just badass. It is, I mean, it's so good. Very violent, very bloody. Not for the kids. Unless your kids are already fucking immune to that shit, then, you know, make it a family movie night. Have some popcorn with the kids, maybe some chocolate, watch people get fucking decapitated and their throats ripped out. It's a good time. Fun for the whole family. I recommend it. 30 Days of Night, though. Ben Foster. Ben Foster, if you're not familiar with who Ben Foster is, he's an actor. Duh. That should probably not have needed to been said, but if you know me, that's kind of what I do, is say things that don't need to be said, and probably shouldn't need to be said, because that's me. Ben Foster. He plays creepy people extraordinarily well. Like, I think the guy should, like, if they had just awards to give to people for creepy characters that they play, the guy would rake those awards in. Just by the caseload he would get. Fucking every movie he makes is practically him just making a very creepy character come to life. And he does a phenomenal job of just being a fucking creepy, terrifying, scary person. And he was my focus when it had just started when we got into practice. The Ring, I don't remember. I think The Ring was on first, and that finished, and then 30 Days of Night started. But yeah, he's such a creeper, and they do such a good job of making him look just hideous, just fucked up teeth, and like a meth head, like a meth addict who comes up and does like another drug that is worse than meth that fucks their whole face up. And every movie that he's in, he's essentially pretty fucking jacked up looking. I want to say it was 310 to Yuma, or it was I guess it was 310 to Yuma, I think, that he was in as the cowboy movie, the remake with, I want to say Christian Bale. I can't remember. I didn't look it up. He was really good in that. I don't remember if he was necessarily the bad guy in that. Maybe not the lead, anti-bad guy, whatever you call him. Anti-good guy. It's been a really long 2021. But he was really good in that too, but he just does such a good job of playing a mean character. And even if I remember when 30 Days a Night came out, I was super stoked to see it. I was still working in dispatch, and it came out in 2008, I believe. And me and my friend Cherie and her now husband, they just had an anniversary. Her and her husband Nick, happy anniversary. 11 years they've been married. I wore white to their wedding because I said I would, and people didn't think I would, and I did. And people were like, wow, he did. And I was glowing in the sun because it was outdoors. It was a beautiful wedding. But anyway, they were kind of newly dating. Is that the word? Newly dating? They came, and one of the other dispatchers we work with, Natasha, she came, and it was just, I think, the four of us. And I don't necessarily know that any of them were really into very brutal vampire horror movies, but I was all about it. And I just remember it was a good night. And Cherie and I are super close. She was one of my trainers when I was a dispatcher. She trained me on PD dispatching, police dispatching, and she is one of the best humans I know. Love her to death. So, and she's a listener. So Cherie, hi. I hope you're well. Thank you for listening. You make me smile when you tell me that you listen to this. And I hope your anniversary time, I'm sure you'll have done something for your anniversary by the time you listen to this. And I hope it was good. So I would have got you guys something, but I'm just a poor boy from a poor family. That's song lyrics. I hope you figured that out. Anyway, 30 Days a Night, fucking kick-ass vampire movie. Ben Foster, kick-ass actor when it comes to incredibly creepy, evil characters. The guy can do it. There's a movie that I saw him in where he played a good guy, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it was, and I'm not going to look it up because I don't care enough right now, but I did want to keep this episode super short. I'm not even going to put a commercial in the middle of this. It's going to be at the beginning of this episode, so something about Anchor.fm. Yeah, thanks, Anchor. Anyway, 30 Days of Night, the original, fantastic. Watch it. See it. If you're at all a horror movie person, highly recommend it. It also did make me want to go chill out in Barrow, Alaska for, a couple months during the winter when they lose the sunlight, because that's the whole premise, is that Barrow, Alaska, sun goes down and it's dark for an entire month, and that's why the vampires migrated there, is because they heard about it and they're like, fuck yeah, and then they just fucking go crazy. And yeah, Josh Hartnet. I like Josh Hartnet. He's made a bunch of good movies. I think he's a good actor. He's kind of himself. The most recent thing that I knew he was in was the Penny Dreadful TV show. And I had high hopes for that show, but I really couldn't get into it. I only got a couple episodes in before I stopped, and maybe I just couldn't pay attention to it for whatever reason. Didn't capture my interest, but Penny Dreadful, I like the idea behind, so I'm sure at some point I'll go back and rewatch it. I think Eva Green's in that, and she's pretty hot, so yeah. But Josh Hartnett, he's great. 40 Days and 40 Nights, the band group chat that actually just came up yesterday. I don't know why exactly, but I like that movie a lot too. It's a comedy, not a horror movie at all, but he's fantastic in that. I watch that movie every now and again because it's just a funny movie and I don't have to pay attention to it. I know that movie. That's a fun movie. But Josh Hartnett, he's good in just about everything that I've seen him in. He was good in the fucking Pearl Harbor movie, and I fucking hate that movie. Ugh, that movie makes me throw up, but he was good in it. So that's my discussion about Josh Hartnett and how he's a tall, lanky, good actor, I guess. I don't have anything to add to that. But 30 Days of Night, fucking awesome. The Ring, great. Ring You, also great. Ju-On, fantastic. The Grudge, pretty darn good. Sarah Michelle Gellar in The Grudge, good. Sarah Michelle Gellar in Scooby-Doo, better. Actually, she's good in both of those, but maybe I just like Sarah Michelle Gellar. Although I did not watch Buffy, so I don't know. Judge me all you want. I don't really care. This has been my episode about this. So again, Saturday, July 10th, noon o'clock, Mountain Daylight Time, Zoom call. Find it on Facebook. It'll be up on Twitter, the link to the Facebook event. So it'll be, the Zoom link won't be on Twitter, but the Facebook event link will be on Twitter, and that'll take you to the event, which will have the Zoom link inside of it. So if you want to be on it, it'll be cameras optional, because I don't know that I'm going to put the video recording portion up onto YouTube. Just the audio is really all I care about, but because not everybody wants to be on camera. I probably don't want to be on camera. That would require me to clean out all the shit behind me in my living room, make it presentable. I mean, they have virtual backgrounds and shit. But that gets all fucked up and dumb. So I don't know that I'll do that. But yeah, July 10th, noon o'clock, noon to 2. It's a 2-hour window. People can come and go as they please. And I hope they please, because then that would please me. And then I will please you. And it's just a cycle of give and take and give. And that's what I'm all about. That's what the daddy does. Some of you know that. Yeah, be there. Don't be there. I really hope you do. Just look for it. Gonna pimp that out here pretty soon. I love you all. Again, sorry to keep this one as short as I am. Just wanted to throw it out there. I didn't want to skip an episode just because I couldn't have my mom on. And hopefully, I am going to have a backup plan in case I can't interview her next week. I will have something actually planned out to talk about. Maybe a different guest. So maybe somebody else. Maybe somebody in my band I will talk to. Or a different band. You guys liked it when I interviewed Greg from Allegiant. And that motherfucker's moving to Canada. So, damn it, Greg. I'm going to miss you. Even though he'll be back in August for filming, according to what he posted on Facebook. So maybe I'll try to make it a point to see him then if I'm not traveling for work. Yeah, so thanks for listening. Find me on Twitter at DeathDiscoPod, Instagram at DeathMetalDisco. Facebook is, I think it might just be Death Metal Disco on Facebook. Or if you just fucking search for it on Facebook, you'll find it. Join me on Zoom, July 10th, noon o'clock. Mountain Daylight Time. You can put your pets on camera if you want to. I like pets. Loki will probably crash my camera because I will have my camera on so you could all see the beauty that is me. I appreciate you listening. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. Yeah. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Be safe. Much love to you all. # titties.